reason we have this is twofold. Firstly, if I'm a German and I jump in there, you're able to block off. So it's not a continual line, so I can't fire all the way down the trench. Secondly, if I'm a German shell and I decide to land in there, the blast is only going to go so far. So it protects you. This is the parapet, sorry, this side, parapet, parados at the back. It's higher than the one at the back. So to put your head over the top, to go over the top, you've got to actually step on something to look over the top. The way we would do that is at stand 2 in the morning and stand 2 in the evening. Slowly but surely, all of us would get on the parapet and we'd slowly rise up as the light, as it gets darker or when it gets lighter, so that you're getting used to being headlined above. One thing that's wrong about this is it's a nice neat row of sandbags. The British Army soon learn that if you have an unscruffy load of sandbags, it's easier for you to put your head up in amongst them. So this wouldn't be much use. You don't need to start major saying lift a bit, right a bit, all that sort of stuff, because you'd be skylines. And the way it would work is you'd have a front line trench. Coming back would be communication trenches. You're in the support line. Further back, more support lines, and depending on what ground but more relevantly, as your company commander, I'd be able to come round and I would inspect your rifles, I'd inspect your feet. Actually, I trust you with your rifles and your feet, but it's the only opportunity of the day I'd get to do to speak to you, to find out if you'd had a letter from home, how your children were getting on, and judge your morale and your mentality. I can't afford for you to be a little bit mentally unstable with a firearm in a trench with my men about. So it was our way of having that kind of interaction between officer and men. After you stand down, then pretty much you go back to sleep again. 2 hours on, 4 hours off. Sentry go they called it, or stand 2. Then we'd have a bit of food. Not bad food really. You know, the average soldier put 1.5 stone of weight on in the First World War, because he was being fed more regular and better food than he would have in civilian street. Because, you know, could have been doing anything in civvy street, certainly wasn't fed. And then same again in the afternoon, write a few letters, bit of whittling. It was at night that this would come alive, because at night you could move. It's at night we'd go on patrol. There's a little building across there, we want to have a look-see. So 4 of us, a bit of cam cream, or cork, burnt cork on us, take off our ID, lightly armed. We'd go over, just find out what's happening in that building. When you come back, report to the same patrol base, so everyone knows you're out there, and when you come back you pass intelligence down. And you say, looks like it's empty, we're not sure, let's make sure. The following night, more of us, maybe 20 of us, would go on what's called a standing patrol. We'd carry all our ammunition with us, we'd go out and we'd occupy that building for 5 to 6 hours. If nothing happens, we know the Germans aren't using it. If they do come along, there's enough of us to have a good scrap. Once that's there and we know it's ours, we then occupy it as a forward position, and on the 3rd time we might go on a trench raid where a lot more of us will go over with the sole intention of bringing back a German prisoner. If you can't get one alive, if you cut off his epaulet, the number on the epaulet will tell you what regiment he is. That's important, because a Saxon is different to a Prussian, who's different to a Bavarian, and they have different mentality in the way they fight. We need to know what sort of Germans opposite us. Germans and the Brits regularly knew who was facing them in the line, via intelligence, by capturing prisoners and just capturing bits of information and stuff like that. Very important part.